look like I'm ready. Check it out.
Let's show them how ready you are.
Yeah, screw off, Marvaz.
Let's do it. Coffin drop. Coffin drop.
You nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. Johnny Heineke! Come on!
Good. Hey, there's a big opportunity, but don't worry. Those guys will be proud of you either way. So, good luck.
Thank you.
You're tuned into Too Sweet Elite with Andrew and AJ, presented by the AEP.
Welcome back, All Elite family, to another exciting edition of the All Elite podcast. As always, you're joined by your boy, Big Match AJ, All Elite Andrew, and you can see we are joined by a special guest,
Johnny Heineke!
our boy Johnny D. Welcome to the podcast. Johnny, how you doing? You want to tell our listeners who you are, how much you like wrestling, how much you like AEW, anything? Are you hungry?
Been watching since middle school, and I'm like 30 years old now, so it's pretty nuts.
That's what's up, dude. We've all been longtime fans, so I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what got you into wrestling then?
What got me wrestling? My neighbor was just like, "Hey, these wrestling games are really cool," and I played the wrestling games.
Wrestling games are where it's
And
at.
then I was like, then he was just like, "Hey, let's just watch wrestling." I'm like, "What? Oh, okay, let's do that." And then we got into it. It was fun.
That's what's up, man. Well, we appreciate you jumping on the show. We want to start bringing on more guests, and Johnny will probably be a pretty consistent guest going forward once in a while, jumping on, at least post Dynamites once in a while, letting us know what he thinks. We are going to talk about another Johnny, though. John Silver, apparently hurt after that match, closing out Dynamite last night. I think that Darby had cut a promo after the show, talking about how he's pretty sure that Silver was working with a torn shoulder. Or a dislocated shoulder, I should say. So, difficult situation for John Silver. They did come out with a report after that, pretty much confirming the injury. That's tough, especially after that great match, right?
Yeah, so he was working with the dislocated shoulder?
Like halfway through the match is what it sounds like.
Wow. Because that match was fantastic the whole way through.
Yeah, I thought that was a kayfabe injury because I thought it was just like working his shoulder, and he was like, but no, it was just legitimate. Like I was just like, that's actually really impressive because he continued wrestling for like 5 minutes after, hitting some good spots and stuff.
Yeah, they had a great match. They had an amazing match. They tore the house down, and for him to find out that he was injured, it's like, holy crap. He put on a killer show despite that. So.
Yeah. And it was well deserving of being the main event. Like, and because you could argue like Kenny and Matt Sydal, they had a great match. It was a great match. But like that really stole the show, and it was a title match too, of course. But it was just a better match.
Mm-hmm. I'm just really impressed with John Silver because I saw him like I think it was like jobbing on a debut episode. That's what he was doing, like jobbing as a job boy, and now he's just like put on a clinic. I saw the match with Orange Cassidy a couple pay-per-views ago, pretty good one. So just impressed with his like overall development as a performer.
I agree, man. And I actually said something similar to that on Twitter last night because I was like, if you told me a year ago that one half of the Beaver Boys would be one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW, and then the other half is no slouch either. Like, I like Alex Reynolds. I like the whole Dark Order. If you told me that a year ago, I would just scoff at you. I would think, no way.
Yeah.
Especially just where the Dark Order was at a year ago and how far they've come, and especially John Silver, how he's come into this character and he's become very popular online, but has also been able to deliver when he wrestles. So.
Yep.
And that match last night was like the first really big opportunity, I feel like, to do that in a singles capacity where he really got to show, especially on TV, how he could do. I was pulling for him in that match, wanting to see another upset last night. So
Same, yeah. I definitely wanted him to win.
Hope the injury doesn't keep him out too long. Hopefully it's something he can recover from relatively quick. I don't know how bad a dislocated shoulder is in terms of how long it'll keep him on the shelf. I wouldn't think too long.
No, I don't think
maybe
so.
Maybe even something he could work through. I think that might be the injury Cody had, right? Or am I off there, AJ?
I don't think you're off there. I think he does have a dislocated shoulder, and they pop it back into place and then just kind of got to rehab. Is what I'm pretty sure about.
Yeah, so hopefully Silver's not out for long. Speaking of Cody, let's talk about this Cody and Brandy reality TV show a little bit. Roads to the Top, I think it's called.
Is it?
Very excited to talk about this.
Yep.
my favorite part of this was when it came on. I was like, look, AJ Cody Rhodes is getting the full third hour of AEW TV, and AJ was like, this is great.
Listen, I watched Ms. and Mrs. unironically, and then I stopped because it got really bad. But I can't expect it to be worse than Ms. and Mrs. It'll be just as good, and people who like that will like it a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I guess I'm something to make fun of Total Nightmares. I'm gonna make fun of it, but it's something my mom can talk about. She'd be like, "Oh, you watch this?" I watched
Yeah,
this.
exactly. My mom's definitely gonna watch Cody Rhodes now. It's weird.
Yeah,
Right.
so.
That is a good way, and that's where it's a smart move doing something like this is it crosses into another demographic and gets other people tuned into what they have going on. And I think that Cody's a good pick for this. Cody and Brandy, like they have been forefronts of what AEW does, but they're not necessarily the main characters on TV. And I think they have enough of a story. People want to know kind of what their life is. They have a diehard fan base that's out there. There are plenty of people who are sick of Cody, but to the other side of that, there are plenty of people who have joined AEW heels just because Brandy is a part of it and you get that interaction with Brandy. There are plenty of people who do the cigar thing because of Cody just to get interaction with him. So I think that this show, it's not necessarily for me. I will probably tune in though because I'm a little curious to see behind the scenes of what Cody Rhodes' life is like, the dog, the baby on the way.
Morbid curiosity. First of all, I gotta watch the first episode because what the fuck? And then I'll probably watch like 3 more, and then I'll probably be like, okay, I'm bored now. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe I won't get bored. But the point is, my mom won't get bored because she loves Ms. and Mrs. She has no idea who the fuck the Miz is.
I love that you and your mom have a special bond through Ms. and Mrs. of all things. So this should be perfect for her though. I think this is good for, like I said, a certain demographic of people. I'll be down to check it out a little bit. It's an interesting thing. It works for them, and it's pretty cool that they got it. So it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Good for Cody. Let's talk briefly about the AEW ratings, shall we? Nothing too crazy to talk about here, except for NXT's ratings went up a little bit, didn't they? I want to say they had like 600 and some odd thousand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were at like 540 before.
Yeah, so they pulled up a little bit this week. Let me find it. Yeah, AEW had 757,000. NXT had 678,000. A lot of people watching wrestling last night. It would be funny if NXT started beating out AEW on their last week of.
Yeah, that'd be fine with me because who cares? First of all, who cares? Second of all, I would love it if NXT just started winning all of a sudden, so all the NXT fans were like, we're the ones who are going to be beating Raw.
They've just won the last week, and that's all they care about.
Well, yeah, and I think that will be like a takeover type show, is what they're going with that last week on Wednesday. So it wouldn't surprise me, and I think they've edged out, and NXT has edged out AEW a couple of times here, but
sure.
It's never really something we care too much about. I'm excited to see the number once they are on separate days. Looks like Impact is also going to Thursday, so it's just going to be a week slate of wrestling. Nobody's really overlapping anybody. There is some overlapping with MLW and stuff like that, but nothing too major. So I'm curious to see what this does for NXT and AEW going forward. Hopefully more people get a chance to tune into both products.
Remember in 2019, before the COVID lockdown, when it felt like there was wrestling on every night? I feel like we're going to be back there, which I like.
It still feels like wrestling's on every night. But
I don't know.
We're definitely getting back to that, especially with it being on Thursdays. Impact on Thursdays, NXT on Tuesdays. It's literally on every night, and there's pretty good stuff on every night. So
Elevation on Monday.
Dude,
yeah, it's AEW expanding 3-day shows a week, which is pretty nuts.
So. It is pretty crazy. Speaking of Elevation, Jon Moxley is apparently going to make his AEW Dark Elevation debut next Monday. Obviously putting a little bit more emphasis behind this show now is what I feel like, by having someone like Mox appear. They're having Kaz fight on that show. A couple of other different matches on the Dark Elevation that I feel like they're trying to make it a little more important than Dark. They're trying to showcase that, I feel like, here.
Yeah, I think they announced Scorpio Sky versus Matt Sydal on Elevation too.
Yeah.
That should be a good one too.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot on this elevation that I'm actually excited for. I was talking to our man Zivo about it and how I'm kind of excited. I'm just saying that we get to see a 90-minute show now because clearly they learned. They were like, oh, 2 hours, not good. And like getting to see the 90-minute show on Monday with a lot of guys in AEW I like that I don't get to see on Dynamite. I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited that you get to see big names too. That's a smart move. That gets people tuned in. That's like when they started Dark and had Kenny on, but then like you never saw Kenny or any big names again. But with Elevation, it feels like you're going to consistently get that.
You would hope, and I do kind of, because I definitely remember those early days of Dark where we maybe even saw Moxley on an episode of just AEW Dark, and it did feel kind of the same as this, where they were trying to make it feel important. I think that they're actually going to remain consistent with that on Dark Elevation. I think that they obviously got away with it with Dark just because they were trying to emphasize some of the independent talent more. So
yeah,
I think it's cool. It feels like there's going to be an emphasis on this show, trying to make it important or feel a little bit better, more important than Dark, I would say. But yeah. So
it should be good.
Intrigued.
Because like Scorpio Sky, like just like putting like they're putting big names on it now. Like a couple last weeks I didn't tune in, even though Maki Ito was on it. Sorry, but yeah, just
traitor, fake fan.
He's just not simpy enough, dude.
I'm not simpy enough. Sorry.
That's fair. Dark Elevation has been something that I've caught, not live, but sometimes afterwards I'll go through and see, because I want to see what they're doing with the product and how they're trying to present it in a little bit of a different way. And you definitely feel like it's not necessarily... It's hard to explain the differences, but it's just not as jobby, I guess. Like, on Dark, it's much more independent talent getting in, like, 10-minute matches, but we're doing, like, 15 of them. So it takes... These are much more emphasized matches. I like it. I like Dark Elevation. They're doing something cool with it.
Yeah.
And it's nice you can just catch it while browsing the internet on a Monday. So.
It serves a purpose that you develop talent, essentially. Like, you work more, you get better. So that's what it serves, so...
Yeah,
Almost
it feels like a stepping stone. It feels like you could see the stepping stone process where you might start out on Dark and then get on Dark Elevation, which is then, okay, you're about to start being really emphasized on Dynamite, so we're going to put you on this show. And we felt that within the last couple of weeks. They really emphasized Tay Conti the last couple weeks on Dark Elevation. Yeah. And when we talk about Dynamite this week, we'll realize why that's important. So that's cool. Something else that's pretty cool that will debut next week on Dark Elevation is Orange Cassidy's new theme song. He has a new theme that's really, really interesting. They have now licensed, like, I think 3 or 4 different theme songs, so that's cool.
I think so, yeah. Between, I don't know if Judas counts, but anyways. It's cool to see having real music, because, like, with WWE, you're so used to in-house music for like the past, 10, 15 years. And TNA even was in-house music. And so to get real songs, it's like so fucking refreshing.
Oh, definitely. I have to, people like usually, like, it costs so much money to do that. So like, it's usually pretty rare. Because I know when CM Punk had his licensed theme, it was like a huge deal.
Yeah.
And the one thing that AEW is doing smart is it's not like they're utilizing
like big songs,
huge legendary songs. They are popular songs that people do recognize when they hear them, but it's not like the biggest songs in the world, or they might be popularized.
Yeah, they're not like bringing out Metallica.
Yeah, but and the thing is that is important to this, I think, is it is costly to license music, but it's not as expensive, I think, as you might think, because WWE doesn't do it and they have such a big budget. Why don't they do it? I think this just shows like AEW has that foresight of recognizing, like, it makes a lot more sense to, at times, license music, and it works out. So the new theme for Orange Cassidy is the Pixies' "Where Is My Mind." This is
that's
from Donnie Darko, right, AJ? Or no?
I karaoke'd that song, dude. And then I got hit on afterwards.
And it fits Orange Cassidy, right? Like, to an extent, "Where Is My Mind?" Like, I heard the theme song yesterday for the first time. But for fans like you who can recognize that theme, like, it just adds an extra element to Orange Cassidy, and he's a perfect guy to get a new theme. Like, he makes sense. So
that's a top tier theme song, dude. Oh my god, I didn't realize it was the Pixies. Oh, that's dope. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, they did a good job, and shout out to Tony Khan for doing that. So I'm glad, brother. That's a good theme song. I think it's cool. I as a huge music fan, of course, like, I love to see licensing of music and utilizing real music for theme songs, because it just helps and sounds so much better. Darby's theme song, I believe, is a licensed theme song from an artist. So it's like doing stuff like that seems to really add an extra step to some talent. Now, not all talent need that, but it has definitely helped the talent who do have it. So I think it's a really smart thing.
Yeah. Like Jungle Boy. Like Jungle Boy is
Jungle
especially.
Boy.
Also, Where's My Mind is also another one where you can sing along. I was going to say Jungle Boy, you can do the oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. But like you can also go like, where's my mind?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
going to be cool
perfectly.
when there's huge full crowds like caught on doing that stuff. And I think that's where probably Tony Khan is being really, really smart right now. Like maybe because it's the middle of a pandemic, it's cheaper to license music. Maybe it's just not happening. So he's utilizing it smartly. Either way, I'm glad he's doing it. It's not my money, so it's a very cool thing. Something else they're doing that's pretty cool, they're doing a house show on April 9th, the same weekend as WrestleMania. So Friday before WrestleMania, if you're in the area, you could drive a couple of hours, check out an AEW house show for the first time ever. This is smart because it gets talent who haven't been featured in front of maybe bigger crowds. Maybe they'll have a bigger crowd for this show. So it gets talent in front of crowds regardless, and different crowds because it's not the same Florida people. It's cool for everybody, I think. If I was going to WrestleMania, I would definitely try to get this. These tickets will sell out fast.
Andrew was bullying me and Johnny.
Is it the same?
You guys are
area
bitches.
WrestleMania? Like Jacksonville
yeah.
WrestleMania? Oh yeah.
No,
it's
Tampa.
Yeah, you just go to
Tampa.
both.
Yeah.
Oh, Tampa. Okay, never mind. It's kind of far.
It's like 2 hours away, but it's on. That's why it helps. It's on the Friday before, so there's probably not as much going on. I wonder if there's any independent shows running this Friday that might be affected by this. But again,
maybe GCW. I don't know.
They usually tend to run like lots of independent shows at Mania areas.
You know what? I don't think GCW is going to Florida right now, though.
I think they are. I think they're doing something. They're definitely doing the spring break show because they've switched it over to Ricky Shane Page's spring break after he beat Joey Janela at the GCW show. So yeah. It's pretty cool. And the thing is, with everything being limited capacity, it's not really going to hurt Game Changer or any of the independents that AEW is running that Friday. Because it's not like they're bringing in... Because if you remember back, like when Ring of Honor would run, that would hurt some of the independents in the area because they would pull like 5,000-6,000 independent wrestling fans to see the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks. So this doesn't hurt anybody. It's cool for the fans. It's smart for AEW to do it. It's unfortunate they can't do it like the whole weekend because they could make a lot of money off it and get a lot of fans in to actually see something. There's going to be like 30,000 fans in Florida that weekend for WrestleMania. So
it's huge.
It's going to be easy to sell. So
Johnny, not this show, but I will if like down the line if you do it, if you say yes, then you don't have to say yes now. I will pay money for us to go to see Dynamite in Jacksonville.
That'd be cool, though. That'd be definitely cool. I would definitely want to see AW live.
Yeah,
like,
it's a
I
great time.
almost wanted to go on the Jericho cruise to see it. You know, like
that's true. Yeah,
my friend went on and I met him, but
it was expensive. So I was like,
it's super expensive.
That was the one thing about the cruise. It was expensive, but I've been to quite a few AEW shows. Always had a good time. Been to Dynamite.
I've been to 2.
Been to like 2 pay-per-views, I think. So I really enjoyed the product live a whole lot. Obviously, that was when they were larger crowds and stuff.
Yeah.
But when they get back to that, it's going to be... That was one of the main things that AEW had going for it. It was just like almost like WrestleMania-level crowds every week, so...
No, yeah, it was amazing. It was so packed, and there was so much energy in those crowds. It's going to be amazing when it gets back.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that, and hopefully that's only a couple of months away before we're seeing AEW on the road in limited capacity, but who knows with how things are going. That does wrap up the news for this week, though. We covered everything we necessarily needed to cover, unless I'm forgetting anything, AJ.
No, you're good. Well, we mentioned Impact, right?
Yeah, I mentioned Impact. You want to talk about Moose really quick, or no?
Yeah, Moose is great.
Moose is great. Sounds good. All right.
I like that guy. I saw him live. I saw him at like a local show.
See, we got another Moose fan, Andrew.
He's all right. AJ tries to talk about Moose at least once a show, and so far he's got a pretty good run going. So, let's talk about a guy who's not going to face Moose. Let's talk about Dynamite and how Kenny Omega opened the show with a solid match against Matt Sydal. Sydal nearly died at one point, I thought. They had a really awesome One-Winged Angel reversal where Kenny still ended up not getting him in the One-Winged Angel and picking up the victory in about 11:20. What did you guys think of this match?
Well, I watched it just now. Sorry, I watched it just now, so I want to talk about it because I messaged you because I missed it because I was like, so how was it? And you were like, it was okay. Fuck you. You were underselling me on purpose, and I'm glad you did. But also, fuck you. It was great. It was a great match. And I really, really liked it. I thought Matt Sydal looked great because I thought his match with Cody was weak, and I talked about this on the last podcast. This makes up for it to me. Like, this tells you, like, Matt Sydal can fucking go, and he went, and it was great. He, like you said, he nearly died. Did sweet reversals, did sweet ass knees and kicks. He was like pulling out his whole repertoire. I loved this match.
Yeah, I thought that a victory roll pin, like, I thought it looked like a 3 count, legitimately. Like,
yeah.
It was like,
they were chanting three.
Yeah, it's like they made up for the whole entire slipping on the rope thing, even though they tied it in with Michael Nakazawa. Like, they made up for that. Like, that should have been his debut match, honestly.
Yeah, that was a great match. I think that Sydal looked great in that one, and yeah, I don't know. I did undersell it to you a little bit, AJ, because it is still just Kenny versus Sydal on Dynamite, but they did what you would expect. You know what I mean? They had a solid match. There was a lot of impressive stuff in it. It was really cool, and it's very cool to see like something you've never seen before, despite watching wrestling for so long. With that one-winged angel reversal, I was like, "What the hell?" So
that was awesome.
They did a great job there. Then they ran through the card, and we get an interview from John Silver in the back. That's how we open the show, with Silver practicing dodging coffin drops for his match with Darby. This was great. Hangman comes up, asks him if he's ready, wishes him luck, and he says the Dark Order will be proud regardless. I thought that was really cool. It's a touch of the stuff that Hangman's been dealing with, of like, can he trust people around him? But he sees that Silver has a group that no matter what happens, they're going to be proud of him. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's everything Hangman does is like really nuanced. Like he's talking about what he doesn't have, but what he wants and what he's looking for, but he's not sure if he wants to step into another group. Everything's going on. I love Hangman. Hangman is such a complex character. I could write an essay about Hangman. I tried to, but I didn't do a good job.
Unfortunately, I missed most of his character work over the past few months, but like when I used to watch, like he was like one of the workers I always wanted to watch in the ring. I don't know, he's just like
his story just has so much depth to it. Like if you really take a second to think about it, and I don't blame a lot of wrestling fans for not, because in general you don't get that level of depth with characters. But if you like even this segment of him telling Silver like this is such a huge opportunity for you, but they'll still have your back. Like all I think about is, okay, he main events the first AEW pay-per-view.
Yep.
It's such a huge opportunity to go against Jericho. He loses. His group doesn't necessarily have his back. His group doesn't feel proud of him after that. So now a year later, we're shifting where the depth of that character is like almost jealous of Silver that he has these people, and maybe not jealous, but he recognizes, he's like, wow, this guy has people who care about him. So I think that's really cool, and just the amount of depth you can find within the Hangman character because of that. So
yeah, it also ties in with Kenny Omega's arc with the Young Bucks right now too, because like the lead group is just pretty much disbanding right now. It's like shattered.
Yeah.
So
yes,
it's like not even being the lead anymore. It's just
and Dark Order is just rising to power in a way nobody thought that they would.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost because they're such a strong unit and they have each other's back through everything. So it was a cool statement from Hangman there. But then you see the great match that comes later on, and you're like, yeah, of course they're going to be proud of that solid match. So good little promo there. Good way to set up that match. And it was funny for Silver to not take it so seriously there, but clearly taking it serious in the match. So next up, we got Hangman picking up a victory over Cesar Bonini. This was a relatively quick match, about 2 minutes. Quick squash match, honestly. Hangman dropping a guy a little bit bigger than him in short order. I liked it. What'd you guys think?
I liked it too. I mean, I thought Hangman getting a win over a big guy looks good for Hangman. I don't think it hurt Cesar Bonini. I think he's gonna be a good guy going forward. He's still like, I don't know how new he is to wrestling, but he's not great at wrestling, but he could totally get there.
I haven't seen his dark stuff, but he looked pretty impressive in the match. Like he knows like the big man stuff.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like he knew how to sell his size, and they told a good like big guy versus small guy match.
Yeah,
even though Hangman's not even short, like it's not even short.
And that's kind of what I liked about this. Like we get Hangman matched up. He's not a small guy necessarily, matched up against a guy who is bigger than him, rather than the typical squash of Hangman beating someone who's already smaller than him in short order. He's beating someone who's bigger than him in short order. So I think this is just a smart type of squash. We don't necessarily see these a lot, even unless it is like a giant. Instead, it's Hangman, who's just like an average size but big size guy on the roster, doing well. So I thought that this was an interesting squash match, if you will, and a good match for Hangman.
Yeah, definitely.
What do
Completely
you think
agree.
about that exploder suplex he did to the big guy? That's what he did.
Oh, that was
T-bone?
rad.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yep.
He's a powerful dude.
He is.
He is. He's really strong.
And that's where matches like this, again, kind of help emphasize that, where you get that idea. So, cool stuff there. I liked the Archer promo we got after this, where it was much more. This was like a vignette, right, AJ? Where it was done. He wasn't at the arena, right? This was I'm
No.
slipping my mind. What do you think?
I think
of
it's
the
like
promo?
Darby's backyard area. It's like
Yeah, it was
that's,
like it was taped somewhere else. I don't know if
Yeah.
it was like a vignette, but it was somewhere. It wasn't at the stadium, and I liked it, man. I love Archer. I love everything Archer does. Archer is my guy. Archer's always gonna be my guy because ever since I saw him tear it up in that G1, I was like, this is the best big man in wrestling. And then I forgot about Brody, and Brody was the best big man in wrestling. But Archer is so goddamn good. Like, he is so good. He can do amazing athletic shit. I'm excited. I want him. I saw your poll on Twitter about who do you want to be the next TNT champion, and I went on my account to vote on it, just to vote in Lance Archer, and I was proud to see that the Twitter
He's
fans
leading,
agreed.
yeah. He was
People
leading.
thought he should have been an initial champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
Promos like this from Archer, I think, are much better than his like in the arena promos where he's just given a live mic and has to go. This type of stuff works much better for him and his aesthetic to me. So I thought this was a solid promo, good emphasis for him at what he's got going on. Still seems to be going after Sting and Darby. So
yeah, I think it was good to actually have a promote with him by himself instead of with Jake, just to
Yeah.
just show like
Yeah.
his motivations, not Jake's motivations.
I agree. That's a great point. After that, we get another promo. This one with Britt Baker. She's talking with Tony Schiavone. They're recapping her match from last week. This was a really good promo. She talks about how she went
was
through
amazing.
hell and that the ovation she got doesn't necessarily live up to what she did last week. She name drops Mick Foley. She says that it took him 20 years to become a hardcore legend. It took her one night. She says that everyone's talking about
Face.
the one person everyone's talking about last week is her, despite the fact that Thunder Rosa won, and Thunder Rosa went on to say she put the women on the map, but Britt didn't agree with that. Obviously, what do you guys think of this promo? I thought this was really, really good.
It was amazing, and
I
she
thought-
didn't tell a single lie.
I thought it was a perfect promo. I was actually just going to say what AJ said. She just didn't say a single lie. It's like she believes her own hype. That's like the best like heel thing is like they don't lie. You know, the character if it's a character, like you boo them because they're right. You know.
Yeah, like it makes so much more sense that way because like she's saying all the facts, all the positives, hiding every negative, of course, but she doesn't have to say the negatives. She can just say everything that's true that came out of that. Everybody was talking about Britt Baker. Why would they be talking about Thunder Rosa? We already knew Thunder Rosa was great. Like,
It's true though.
That's
And
that-
she was the chosen one of the division, so it's like
And it's cool. Here's a really cool thing with her and Hangman is that we saw that they were chosen people for their respective divisions early on in AEW, but they didn't force it. They recognized at times, okay, maybe they're not ready for the main event slot right now, but if we give them a main event position, they lose. They've been established a little bit when they come back and build up over a year and a half. When Britt and Hangman become that formidable top main event people, it's been established now. So they did it very, very smart. Even though we as fans knew what they were doing, they did it in a way that we could appreciate, not in a way that felt forced.
yep, it was really an amazing promo from somebody who not only can cut amazing promos and always has been able to cut amazing heel promos, but has grown so much as a wrestler. And we're going to talk about a lot of people growing as a wrestler, but Britt Baker should be noted that she
definitely.
really, in the time she's been in AEW, leaps and bounds better.
especially from her match with Rio, like first second week of AEW or something like that. Like
Yeah.
she just way.
Yeah,
Way
I
better.
agree. And her character work has been able to evolve and become so much
Yep.
better as well. So yeah, I think Britt is in a great position. This promo surprised me in a way because I knew she could cut a great promo. This is what you want to see after that moment. But I almost didn't know if we would get it from Britt. But she is just being solidified as the person and not slipping up in any way. Like every opportunity she's being given right now, she's hitting a home run with. So the promo was
Remember
no
when we
different.
were calling her Ace? I know Hikaru she is obviously the ace, but she's the heel ace.
She is, for sure. She's definitely established that now. So, The next promo we got was from Christian. He was backstage talking to the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin. He was apparently giving them some tag team advice for their tag team match coming later. He gets interrupted by Kaz, who's a little bit pissed off for some reason. This sets up Kaz versus Christian next week. Kaz tells Christian, if you're not busy on Mondays, you can watch me on Elevation. What do you guys think of this?
I thought it was fun because Kaz and Christian have history in TNA. It makes sense that Kaz is like, oh, you're an old guy who wants to come in and pretend you're hot shit. Like, I've been doing this the whole fucking time. Fuck you.
And their ladder match in TNA was fire. So, like, I'm just glad they get to work together. It's a perfect match to bring Christian back. They know each other. Kaz is just really good. Like,
they're both workhorses. Like, honest to God, I know that's the gimmick here, but they are both workhorses.
Mm-hmm.
And put Kaz anywhere, they'll be good.
Yeah. So that's a great debut match for these two, or for Christian, I should say, on Dynamite. Interesting way to set it up. I like this little backstage thing with the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin, because I could always see, like, maybe Christian aligns with one of them down the line. AEW puts those hints out very, very early, where if Christian's ever in a spot, won't surprise me to see these guys come and make the save for him. So
it
was interesting. They could always feud with, like, Matt Hardy's group, too. Matt Hardy and Christian have history, too, so it's like...
Yeah, exactly. And so it's cool to see, and that's where you end up seeing so much growth within AEW, is pairing up some of these younger guys with these really talented veterans. So
absolutely.
There. Then we got another match. We got Spears and FTR picking up the victory over the Varsity Blondes and Dante Martin. So it seems Christian's advice did not work nearly as much as he had hoped. This was a pretty decent match, though. Post-match, Wardlow destroys Brian Pillman Jr. for some reason. Dax and Cass cut a nice little promo on Proud and Powerful. MJF cut a promo on Jericho talking about how they're too afraid to come out and fight them. Shivani mentions that it's because they're injured. MJF doesn't really give a shit about that and says next week he will have a gift for all of them, or for all of the gold they will hold when the pinnacle is always at the top. So, solid match, solid promo, post-match. Really nothing too crazy, but...
Nothing crazy, but like adding fuel to the fire that's like eventually going to become an explosion. Like when the Inner Circle are back, this is going to be an all-out brawl. Like we're definitely headed towards War Games or Blood and Guts, whatever you want. Blood and Guts at Revolution, or what's the next year? Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing. I'm guessing that's where we're going, and I'm so fucking excited for that, dude. Like it's gonna be a baller banger ass match, and especially because they're going to give this a lot of time and they're going to give this a lot of heat, that it's going to be red hot by the time they actually wrestle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And they can always build this up like over multiple pay-per-views and other stuff. So like this is like a match you can do like 2 or 3 times. It'll be exciting each time.
Yeah. I like
One thing I gotta say about the match though is like Dante Martin's hope spot, it got cut in picture-in-picture, and I was kind of disappointed. Like I had to watch in picture-in-picture for that because he had some cool stuff during that.
Yeah, he was doing good. I actually did catch that too.
Yeah, it was a picture-in-picture, sadly though, so you missed it probably if you're like weren't paying attention.
You got me, and that like that's the nice but not so nice thing about picture-in-picture. Like at least you can catch it because it's not in commercial, but they have a lot of moments where the timing isn't always the best, where there's some stuff that happens in picture-in-picture and you're like, oh shoot, man, if only that could have been on the actual televised broadcast, I'd have been...
Bro, the package pile driver through the table still makes me mad.
Yes, there have been plenty of moments. So no, I think that this was a solid match, a good showcase for the guys who you knew weren't going to win but still looked pretty decent in losing. And yeah, post-match was good. I think that setting up the Proud and Powerful match with Dax and Cash and Jericho obviously and MJF. And I like the slow build. Like, we're not getting the Inner Circle just coming out and attacking, even this week or last week. Like, it's a slow burn. So, nice.
Yeah.
I also feel that Sammy Guevara returns, and then he's probably put on the shelf again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
very funny, right?
Very funny. Team Taz cut a promo after this, confirming that there's apparently no issues within the group. But if you ask Brian Cage, that's some bullshit. But... I like this promo for that, like just establishing that clearly they're not all together right now, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they end up fixing their issues. But this is cool.
I like that burn. The only thing that Brian Cage said was "who better," because it's like clearly there's a problem, Daz, and you're being very delusional right now. How could you not see this coming?
I don't think they're going to break up, but I think attention just makes the group interesting. So
yeah, I don't think they're going to. You know what? That's a good point, because I was really under the assumption they're going to turn Brian Cage face, and I still think they might. But
eventually down the line, yeah, sure. But
like
not soon.
No, not soon. Probably not soon. It's gonna
I
be
could see
like
this
pretty
being
slow
another
burn.
like slow burn type thing. And
Yeah.
like on Dark, they had Ricky Starks doing commentary during Cage's match and stuff, and it's just very interesting to hear the dynamic between what they're saying about Cage and who he is as obviously the biggest man in the group and could destroy all of them. So it's very interesting. I like how they're slowly building this, and if you do watch the other pieces of the product, you get it slowly. So they're doing good stuff here, and I'm curious to see how it goes, because I do kind of agree with Johnny that I don't think that we'll see Cage just split off right away. This could be something that takes a little bit of time and just adds more intrigue to what they have going on as a group. So gives them something to do without having to feud with anybody.
That's a good point.
That's exactly true. Yeah.
We then got a QT Marshall interview, which apparently had some people up in arms because he's been married the whole time. But he's interviewed by Tony Schiavone, setting up a match with Cody Rhodes. He wants to be out of Cody's shadow. He won't take any more meaningless bumps until he gets his match with Cody. Cody comes out. He accepts the match if Arn Anderson can be the referee. He says that he's not going to hurt QT. Essentially, he's going to take it easy on his friend. What'd you guys think of this?
I was like, QT, why the fuck are you taking this match? He's clearly saying he's gonna be like having bitch hands the whole time. Like, it's not a real match.
It's not a real match. It's
you're gonna win, obviously. So if he's not gonna do any of his finishes,
like even Cody said, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna end the match there. Like, I'm not gonna cross use you. I'm not gonna put you in figure four. But
I'd be furious.
I'm just kind of disappointed they didn't like follow up on the Penta feud with Cody, but I understand.
They will. I think
they will. Just Pac's hurt right now, so he has to focus on
Yeah.
So that makes sense. It's just unfortunate timing.
I agree with that, because that does seem to be the situation where they might end up having to pull Penta with Phoenix to do that Young Bucks match, so maybe they're slowing down on that feud with Cody a little bit. This is an interesting thing for QT. I've been kind of intrigued by what QT has had going on the last couple of months. I anticipated this because I was watching some of the vlog stuff he did with Sammy G, so I could see this coming, and that's why I like it, because he's just better as a bad guy. So this was cool. I thought it was hilarious the way people were so upset that he had mentioned his wife and had been trying to flirt with the bunny for so long. I mean, I get it, I guess, if everything has to be that, like, straight and narrow and perfect for you. But I don't know. I didn't have an issue with it. But there were a lot
I
of
didn't
have an open
even
relationship.
notice until people got upset.
Yeah, they have an open relationship.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
you can always easily explain it, you know?
Exactly.
It's fine.
So that's good stuff. And I like the dynamic of QT being Cody's best friend. Despite being like a shitty person lately, Cody still cares about him, still friends with him. We're going to see how this blows up in Cody's face, because every time he has a friend, his friend just beats the shit out of him. So
Yeah.
probably what's
true.
coming next. And I don't know. I think the Arn Anderson dynamic is interesting. We'll either see QT destroy Arn, or maybe Arn decides to align with QT. I don't know.
Can Arn take bumps? I haven't seen him take a bump in a while.
I don't think so, or I don't think he's supposed to.
Yeah, if this was WWE, my anticipation would be that Arn is just going to spine buster QT, and like that's the whole reason to build this. But no, I don't think it's going to be that. Should be interesting. I don't know if he can take bumps, so I don't know if QT will be destroying him or not, but we'll see what happens. Up next, we got to talk about this pretty interesting six-man tag match with the Lucha Brothers teaming with Laredo Kid, picking up a victory over the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler after Laredo Kid picks up the victory gets the pinfall on Cutler. I was kind of surprised to see that. I wasn't anticipating it. When it happened, I was like, oh, is he really going to get the pin? And he did. It makes sense, especially because it doesn't really hurt to have him pin Cutler of all people, but it was fun.
It was fun.
I guess that means they're using Laredo Kid, because like Kenny started some with him, so I guess they're using him.
Why not? He's a AAA guy, I think. I think he signed there, but like they're not doing as much, so it makes sense. Put him in AEW, have him do some stuff. And he's a great wrestler. He's a great talent. I watched his match with Kenny Omega at Triple Mania, and they tore it down. And I was actually really excited that he got the pin, and I expected Brandon Cutler to take it, so that makes sense.
Yeah, he's the job boy. So
He is the job boy. Post-match, Kenny Omega comes out and attacks Laredo Kid. He then cut a promo on the Young Bucks saying how he's always had their back, but they don't seem to have his back. He will give them one more chance, tells them to two-sweet him. They refuse and walk away. The Lucha Brothers then get their revenge on Kenny for attacking Laredo Kid, and the Bucks just continue to walk away. They let him get jumped by the Lucha Brothers. The Lucha Brothers do what they need to do and then leave, and then the Good Brothers make the save. So I liked the dynamic of this post-match segment. I liked the match itself with Laredo Kid getting a victory, because I'm excited that it looks like he'll be utilized by AEW more going forward. He is the AAA cruiserweight champion. So he's obviously not going to be signed by AEW, but he's someone worth bringing in for however many shows.
For sure.
Because he's very talented, he has legitimacy, and that's where a pinfall for him makes sense. So.
Yeah, and as far as the post-match stuff goes, I found it interesting, and I'm probably reading way too much into it, but Kenny was specifically saying, Matt, throw it up. Matt. And then Matt took his hand and took Nick and started walking with his hand on his back while Nick was like almost going to look back. And then Matt was like, no. And I found that dynamic interesting. I don't know if that means anything. It probably doesn't. It was probably just how they went. But I just noticed that. And I was like, that's kind of something.
I didn't notice that at all, and I don't think that actually matters, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either, but I just wanted to point it out in case somehow it does.
I don't think it actually means anything.
Yeah, I don't
know.
But
he was saying Matt.
The one thing about it that is interesting is that that Matt was the one throwing it up early prior. So I don't. Yeah. That's why I don't know if there's really much to that, AJ, because he was the one that was going right to it, and Nick was kind of the one pulling him away from it. So it would be strange to see them now all of a sudden switch roles in that position. But there might be something to it, especially with him just saying Matt. We'll have to wait and see. And if it happens to be, you'll be the first one on it from this show. So.
Oh yeah, I'll be popping about it. I'll be like, look, I was right.
I knew the Young Bucks were finally gonna turn on each other after 20+ years of them saying they would never turn on each other.
How would that even work?
I don't know.
It's like the one team I would never see break up.
Yeah, I know. I would never even want them to. I love the Young Bucks. Andrew does, and I do.
I like them. I like Nick a lot more than Matt, but they're fun to watch. Let's talk about another.
I don't know why.
Let's talk about another duo that's fun to watch. Mox and Eddie Kingston. They cut a nice little promo here addressing the Good Brothers. Moxley talks about how he apparently owes the Young Bucks one, but he doesn't like it. He says that if they're going to get in this game, they better be ready to get their hands dirty. So I was actually thinking, AJ, what if they decide to do blood and guts, maybe with this duo, the Young Bucks, add another guy. They have to add a lot more people to this. But it seems like they're going with a multi-man. They're going with a multi-man match here with Mox, Eddie teaming up with the Bucks to take on Kenny, the Good Brothers, and maybe somebody else. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could slot Kenta in there if he wants to show up. I don't know. Don Callis. Cyrus the Virus returns. No, I don't know. That's possible. I'm not gonna say I foresee it happening, but I don't really know what's gonna happen. So I'm not gonna say it's not.
Hands dirty and team with Mox, man. They're gonna.
What I do know is I love these promos. I love these Mox and Eddie promos. I love this duo. I love how just raw and gritty they are. It's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, that's really been some of the highlights of the show is just those two just talking backstage and just the chemistry they have is unbelievable. So too bad. To be fair, they've known each other for millions of years. So
yeah, I agree. And they are a great duo. I like what they've been able to do here, and their dynamic is really just getting started. That's what's fun about what they've got going on is it's only been going on since obviously the explosion gone wrong. So.
Yeah,
I think what they're setting up is Good Brothers versus Mox and Eddie, instead of Eddie versus Mega. But
yeah, probably
that makes sense. That definitely makes sense as well. So I'm intrigued to see where they're going with all of it, especially with the Young Bucks clearly involved in what Kenny's got going on too, or maybe they won't be now. Maybe them walking away from Kenny tonight is just the end of. They don't have to have a feud. We've seen that in AEW plenty of times where there doesn't have to be a feud or a brawl. They've just established they're not with Kenny anymore. So maybe that's the point they go with. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see, yeah.
I'm excited to talk about this next one with you guys because it caught me totally by surprise. Tay Conti picking up an upset victory over Nyla Rose. And this was a surprise yet legitimate victory. She looked great throughout. Before we even get to the post-match, the match itself was great. I saw someone on Twitter comment about how this match started out with Tay as someone oh, I like her, and then you're oh, maybe she might win. Oh, she looks great. Oh, shit, she actually won and looks great. So it was a great match, a fantastic upset. I don't think really anybody saw coming, and they had plenty of time to put it together. This was really, really great.
For me, midway through, I was I want her to win. I want Tay Conti to win. I don't think she's going to win. I want her to win, though. And then when she won, I fucking marked. I was so into that. She looked so good. And I have a lot to say about it, man, because she was in NXT's Performance Center for 4 years. And in 6 months, Dustin Rhodes has made her be able to do this shit. God damn, like Dustin needs a job way
He has a
after
job,
he's retired. Like way long after he's retired though. He should stay in AEW as their head trainer, because if he can do that shit, ooh, he's talented.
Unfortunately, I never saw her early
Joshi.
stuff, so I haven't seen her early stuff. I haven't really been.
It wasn't good.
I missed a lot of her old. I missed a lot of her development, so like I don't really know much about her. But I was like impressed it was a clean win, because most people like usually beat like Nyla Rose by like roll ups usually expected.
Yeah.
But she was number 1 ranked. It built up, made sense.
Yeah, they've done such a good job at building up Tay through Dark Elevation, and she's gotten better and better in the ring. Even early on in AEW, you could tell that there were some kinks, and there still are some kinks here and there, but she had a great match here with Nyla Rose. This is a testament to both of them, who a year ago we were talking about being a little bit on the greener side. Now they're just impressive wrestlers having a great match. There's not really anything I could nitpick about this one, because I had so much fun watching it, so much fun cheering for Tay, someone who I have watched in NXT and wasn't too fond of her work, but now in watching this match, I think that's what makes you like even more into it. If you are someone who had been watching her for so long, and you're like, holy shit, this girl got good. Like in NXT, she felt like, oh, this is someone we signed to be a pretty face. But in AEW, she comes and can kick ass and be a pretty face. It's like, holy crap. So they did a great job here. I think the post match, I didn't really love it, with Nyla Rose attacking Ty, which made sense. Then we have Hikaru Shida come out and make the save. Then the Bunny comes out. It makes sense because they're trying to establish new primary characters in the women's division in the Bunny and Tay Conti. But that's all it makes sense for to me. Otherwise, it was like a random brawl after a really great match. I'm not mad at it, but it was kind of goofy.
It was chaotic but necessary, because like they're pushing the Dark Order versus Matt Hardy's group, and Ty is not actually attached to it yet, as far as I know. But like that's just like they're trying to use her instead of Anna. So right now,
well, no, Ty is in the Dark Order.
Oh, she is. Okay,
yeah,
I was confused by that because the commentary said like she was just not in it. I don't know why. Because like the Dark Order comes out, they're
she
like,
wasn't in it before. And maybe that's what they were talking about.
It took them a while to get her into the group and officially make her in the group. But yeah, and like good thing they did that too. At the time we were kind of speculative, but it worked out, especially with Anna Jay getting injured. She kind of slid into that position, and so yeah, she looked great. I thought it was interesting. I get that they're trying to do this whole Dark Order versus Matt Hardy's group thing. So in that sense, it makes a little bit of sense. And Matt Hardy made it make sense by cutting a promo saying that the Bunny has been overlooked. The tournament was a sham because she wasn't involved in it, and his clients are going to stop being overlooked starting now. So they did make it make sense, but it was just like, I guess at that point, I was like, man, you gave her a win. It was so awesome. Like, can't I just enjoy it? But it kind of helps, I guess, to take it away and add a story to it. So.
Oh no, I get it. You got the whole.
Maybe they should just like like you said, just not had it this week, just like later.
Yeah.
So backstage segment like later down the show. I don't know. It's kind of hard.
But it is interesting to build. It looks like we're building to Tay versus the Bunny, which could be an interesting match. It's one that I don't have a whole lot of high hopes for, but if it does deliver, it's kind of like this one with Nyla Rose, where then I'm like doubly excited, and they don't even have to do as much. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we get a Scorpio Sky video package, pretty similar to the one I think on Dark Elevation, but just continuing to emphasize him as a talent and why he's going into a singles role. I like it. I like what they're doing with Scorpio Sky, taking their time at sort of rebuilding this character.
And I'm glad we were wrong. I'm glad we were wrong about him interfering in the TNT title match, because I feel like now, looking back at how good that match was, that would have ruined it. So I prefer them just doing this, like turn him heel and then have him do something. But like, I don't want to know what it is. I want to be surprised.
Yeah, it's kind of surprised he's not working with Darby, but I guess it makes more sense for Archer to do so. Also, I'm really glad they're rebuilding him too. Like when I first started watching AEW, like he was like one of the highlights, but then he just kind of like dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I think he might have gotten injured for a little bit, and that kind of deterred him a little bit. But yeah, he also just wasn't getting used for a good portion of time there as well, where he was someone that really could have benefited if they had Dark Elevation at that time to be featured as a talent the way he's being featured now. So I think they're doing a really good job at re-elevating him. I agree, AJ. I'm glad he didn't interfere, because there was so much that was potentially could have happened, and they did end up having a brawl at the end of the match anyway. That had he gotten involved, I might have preferred that over the actual brawl that came about. But There was something that was bound to happen, and so why involve him in something? Like, there's so much drama within Darby and Silver and the Dark Order, and why bring Scorpio right back into that? We could wait a little bit before bringing him into it. So
Absolutely.
I also think like TNT title matches, they really need to establish like cleaner finishes. So like that's what they needed to do. So like they don't want like those DQ endings. People don't like in AEW, I don't think so.
I agree. I agree, and I think that it was a smart move to do that with this match. Of the post match there were some shenanigans, but there really wasn't a whole lot of major interference that really hurt anybody in this match. So, good point. We then get to the main event match. We have Matt Hardy and Private Party at ringside, so potentially looking to screw over Silver. That's kind of what I was thinking, especially with the Hangman promo earlier on in the show. Hardy obviously having his issues with Hangman. And then we have the Dark Order there too, though. So to prevent that from happening, the Dark Order's there supporting Silver, so that was cool. Darby picking up the victory over John Silver in what was an amazing match to me. I thought this was
awesome.
Great. At 1.5 saves John Silver from a tope suicida, which was a great moment. The Dark Order consistently helping John Silver, helping him over the barricade. And it wasn't necessarily cheating, but they were just helping their guy out. Because of this, Sting still comes out to sort of even the odds. This forces the Dark Order to kind of scatter. Darby picks up the victory after a really sweet Code Red roll-up. This match went about almost 14 minutes. I thought the finish was great. You didn't have to win off of a coffin drop. He had been dodging them all day long anyway. Who's to say if Darby would have hit it? So, great finish. I thought it was great. I loved it.
I thought it was amazing. And I like the fact, I know it's weird because Sting's old, but like he looks good in kayfabe. And so like in the kayfabe universe that is AEW, in that match that he had at Revolution, he seems he should be able to be seen as badass. So I like that he just puts the fear of God in all of the Dark Order. Like, I'm gonna fuck you up with my bat. And they're just like, okay, oh no.
It makes sense too, because Dark Order is so goofy. So like they can just kind of do like the comical like Goon Squad type thing if they need to.
Yeah, they can just be like, whoa.
I'm scared of you.
The match itself was just amazing. And like we talked at the top of the show about it, with the dislocated shoulder, that I didn't, like Johnny said, I thought it was a kayfabe injury. And he was still going that hard, that well, performing flawlessly with Darby. And so was Darby. This was a fantastic match where it sucks somebody got hurt in it. But otherwise, this match to me was perfect.
Yeah, John Silver's moveset is just basically a Kaw and like created wrestler. So he's just like the powerhouse guy who can do everything.
Yeah,
he almost is like a Kaw too, because he's like the size you want to be able to do dives and stuff, but he's freaking built and jacked. So he's a great talent. He's someone that has surprised me, like I said earlier, a lot over the last year, and I think they did a great job with this. Poor John Silver, if you've been watching Being the Elite, you know that they've been trying to find Sting for months, him and Alex Reynolds. Sting is right there, and he has to wrestle a match and get beat up. It's a struggle, man. Poor guy. I hope they reference that on Being the Elite. That'll be fun. But this match itself was great. They continue to do so much with Silver. Silver is someone who I think even to maybe the casual AEW fan or the regular AEW fan might not have caught on up until this match, but I think this match officially kind of solidifies him as someone to keep an eye on, at least in AEW, because this was a great match and very impressive. Him and Darby had a great match, and the show of respect from Darby afterwards was cool too. The post-match fist bump where he kind of hesitated too, had to think about it. Then Darby gets yanked out of the ring by Matt Hardy. We have a huge brawl come about. Private Party come out. Bunny and Tay Conti come out. Everybody's brawling to end the show. Looks like we might get Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin down the line. So just everybody wants a piece of Darby.
Matt Hardy's
that's how the
doing
division
a lot.
should work. That should be how the division works. TNT title's like their TV title. They should be like defended all the time.
Yeah.
Like some quick foods, all the time though. Like constant rotation of challengers.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I like Cody started that, and then it kind of died down a little with Brody, but that was the point with Brody. He was healing it up. But with Darby, it makes sense that he would want to be a fighting champion just like Cody, because he's while he's spooky and scary, he's a face and a good guy. And I really, the only thing I thought is wow, this show's got a lot of Matt Hardy doing crazy shit. But other than that, I wasn't mad about it. I was just wow.
The fans have seen a lot of Matt Hardy at this show tonight, AJ?
Yes, it's EWR, yes.
I didn't mind it. I wasn't upset about it, but it was a good show. I think that they delivered good. I like that they're building to potentially Matt versus Darby for the same reason you guys referenced. We need to keep the TNT title being defended more often than it has been. I think they recognize that with what Darby's been saying in his promos. I think that they maybe didn't really know how to go about it when Darby was feuding with Cage and Ricky, because you didn't want to just do the typical thing of him defending against the whole group or whatever. So they waited, and now they're in a position where they're recognizing, okay, even if he has a main storyline going on with someone, we need to still get him matches somehow, and we need a way to tell that story. So far they're doing a good job of it, and maybe like this, and this helps his run. I think if he were to lose here, and I wasn't anticipating him losing here, but if he were to lose here, it would have hurt his run because he just didn't get a lot of defenses. A match like this really helps solidify his run. And them having Tay Conti win earlier in the show is what just had me believing a little bit. Like, are they going to do 2 upsets where they try and make 2 stars in one show and have Silver win? So that's where something like that earlier on in the show can help out a little bit at night. In the main
I
event.
agree. There were moments where I was on the edge of my seat. Like, maybe they'll pull the trigger. I don't know. Like, Silver is really over, and he's really good.
It made sense, especially with the promo before him, where he was just like, "This is the Dark Order Open Challenge for Brody's memory." So it made total sense if Silver won.
I agree.
The promo earlier.
I like what they've done with all of this. I like what they did with Dynamite last night. Was a really good show. They definitely delivered pretty much what I had expected. Maybe over-delivered to an extent with that Tay Conti match. So I'm not upset about anything at all. I think they did a good job. AJ, is there anything we forgot to cover or that we should cover before we close things out?
No, man. I just want to say every match on that show was great.
I think we missed one thing. I think it was the Jade Cargill promo on Red Velvet.
That's right.
That's the only one.
I'm glad you're here, Johnny. What'd you think of it?
She looks like a star. I don't know much about her. I haven't seen the Shaq match. She just looked like a star. I've seen Red Velvet locally at local wrestling shows, and she was good there. So I'm glad she's getting an opportunity on national TV.
Jade Cargill, the match with Saxon, she didn't see it. She delivered. Like, it wasn't like she was like amazing, but for her first match ever, it was good.
Yeah, she's a freak athlete.
She's a freak athlete. That's the best way to put it.
Yep, and
she's a star.
I agree. I think that she could be like a huge star depending on what they do with her and how well she develops as a professional wrestler. But so far what she's done has been very impressive. I think her feud that they're building with Red Velvet is interesting. It helps both of them because they're both relatively new talent, which is something kind of interesting to see because you don't see it a whole lot. Like, Red Velvet has been around on AEW TV, but really hasn't been emphasized a lot. So we're seeing 2 kind of new characters getting a chance to establish themselves within a feud just between the 2 of them. Now, they did get help from Cody and Shaq, obviously, in the beginning where people started to care. But now that people care, they're getting an opportunity to run with it. I think that Jade looks great. She's someone I've been high on since before we saw her wrestle. I was like, there's a really good chance she could be something great just because of her build.
Yeah.
And so far, she's delivered well in the matches that I'd be hard-pressed to find a negative about Jade Cargill.
Absolutely. And she's from where I'm from, or where I live, not where I'm from, but it makes me pop, so.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm a big fan of Jade Cargill. I think they've got a big opportunity with her. And that's what's cool about this women's division now is it's really starting to feel how it felt early on, AJ, when we were talking about AEW's women's division. And they're kind of missing a couple of those pieces that were part of it back then, too, still. So It's interesting that we feel this way now just because of people like Tay Conti and Jade Cargill, who we probably, like, if you told us, and we didn't necessarily know who Jade was a year ago, but if you told us 2 relatively green women would be helping make us very much more interested in the women's division, I would call you crazy. But they're doing a great job with it. So I'm impressed with the women's division lately, and I'm glad that they've seemingly just recognized the issues people had online with it and sort of addressed it head on and trying to really put some emphasis behind that division now. So.
Definitely. They've done a great job, and like it's a division that I'm looking forward to watching. It's a division where I don't care if there's like multiple women's matches on the show. I kind of want there to be.
Now there's a line of women I would like to see challenge Hikaru Shida, a line of people I'd like to see potentially become women's champion and how they could do in that position. Whereas for a while it was just kind of, well, I don't really want Shida to lose because I don't want.
That's how it was for a while too.
Where's Hikaru gonna be?
Yeah,
it was like maybe like Nyla Rose. I liked Nyla Rose for a while. Like I like Nyla Rose on debut. Like even if she was kind of green, I liked her a lot. But it's just like they lost to Joshi's because of COVID, unfortunately. So they didn't really have a lot of options for a while.
And now it seems like everything is starting to come together within that division. So I'm impressed with what they've done so far, and I'm glad that we're going to see more of it, hopefully. So
for sure.
Alrighty, that does wrap up everything. We got everything thanks to our guy, Johnny D. Johnny, let them know where they can find you on social media, give you a follow, all that good stuff.
So my Twitter is @iJohnnyD. It's a Batista Stan account basically, and I sometimes do videos on YouTube at John is Dude, and that's basically it.
Dope, man. Well, thank you for being a part of the show. We're glad you jumped on and talked some Dynamite with us.
Yeah.
AJ, let them know
Thanks
where
for
they
having
can
me.
find you. Yeah, man. Dude, seriously, I appreciate you jumping on, having a great conversation, bringing some additional like perspective to stuff that I think was really great. So I think this was a really great show. I'm glad you joined us.
Yeah, same here, man. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at AJ the
And you can find me on Twitter at 2SweetElite. You can find me on Instagram at Andrew Kazir. Find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/AllElitePod. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/AllElitePodcast. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, brother. We are also on Instagram at All Elite Everything, Twitter at All Elite Podcast. I think that is everything. We will be back next Tuesday to discuss AEW Dynamite and give our predictions for that card, talk about AEW Dark Elevation, and we'll be with our guy Zevo. He will be joining us, so that'll be fun. Like I said, we're getting more guests on the show, so if you're interested in jumping on with us and being a part of the Too Sweet Elite, the All Elite podcast, then let's do it, man. Until then, that wraps everything up. See ya.
Peace.
Bye.
All I see is marks and